Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Mike Beer with producer Bobby helping us out as we head on over to Oaklawn. It is opening weekend at Oaklawn. Mike, they have really stepped up the racing at Oaklawn over the last few years. Big fields, incredible purses.
Yep.
They even have extended dates in an era where tracks are running less and less. Oaklawn's doing the opposite. They're running more with bigger fields.
Yeah, and the horsemen are really supporting it. I get, just another one of those examples, I guess, you put the money up and the purses are really good there. You put the money up and the good stables will chase it.
Yeah, this is a $150,000 stakes race. It's a non-graded stakes. So we actually have 5 graded stakes winners in this field that we're going to take a look at in the Ring the Bell on Saturday at Oaklawn Park. It's going to go as race number 8. You have Durante, Tejano Twist, Skelly, Roll On, Big Joe, Banishing, who have all run 1 graded stakes races. So a solid little field here of some dirt sprinters lining up on Saturday, Mike.
Really interesting field. Tons of horses with back class in here. Who if they can wind up showing up with their good race here, you're going to get a real war in this race. I think a lot of different horses can win.
It's worth mentioning as we sit recording here on Thursday, Roll On Big Joe is cross-entered. He's also entered in one of those really solid races at Turfway on Saturday. So just keep an eye on that because either race that he shows up, he's going to be a major player coming off his last effort, and his form is really solid. So just keep an eye on that when you're putting your handicapping together and your wagering together for this race. Let's see what Timeform US thinks as far as the pace projector is concerned. I mean, most of the time when Skelly's in a race, Mike, he's going to be up front on the lead in the pace projector.
There's no doubt about that. Anybody who's seen Skelly run knows that he's really got one way to go. He's not a great gate horse. He doesn't always break alertly from the gate, but that doesn't matter. Once he does get his feet underneath him, they send this horse to the lead, and that's what they'll do again in here.
Let's meet the field for this one, the Ring the Bell. We only can show you a few of these replays, and I think we have one to show you because a lot of them are coming from Churchill. Here's the one from Remington Park, which is second ID. Finishing second, I thought this was a pretty good effort here, Mike, but when you're kind of just looking at his overall body of work, his first 3 starts, win. Since then, a couple seconds, not quite able to really take the big step forward from earlier on in his career, but not a bad effort in defeat. He's now going to make his 3rd start of the form cycle. Just kind of honest type horse. Yeah. I do worry about the rail draw though for horses like this, kind of getting in a tricky spot. What do you think about second ID?
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot working against him here. He's still very lightly raced. Obviously had some issues along the way, and his overall form there's nothing wrong with it, but it feels like he's stepping into a pretty tough stakes race here.
Yeah.
And he's got the rail with, we'll see how the field all shakes out. There could be a scratch or two, but there's plenty of speed to his outside.
We move to Durante. He's a multiple graded stakes winner. He finished 5th in this race last year, but you look throughout 2025, I mean, he'll pop up and surprise and run some big races here and there. And he's very honest. I think he's 24 out of 44 in the money overall. So he generally shows up, gives a good account of himself. Right. And, he can pop up at a big price and win races like this.
Yeah, the kind of horse you don't want to take. I don't ever want to take too lightly when he goes off at a big price. If he goes off at, sort of a shorter price, especially against horses like this, he's really not for me. But if he gets totally overlooked, it's far from impossible. And as opposed to some of the other horses we're going to get to and the horse on the rail, perhaps, he doesn't need the lead to be effective. If he gets outrun to the front, that's okay with Durante. He'll still show up and run.
It looks like Roll On Big Joe, Banishing. They see them getting the better of him quite often, so they might just be a little bit better than him. You kind of know what you're going to get from Tejano Twist. He's a grade 3 winner, but he's just won for his last 14. He's going to drop back. He's a deep closer. He's going to make one late run. He needs a little help up front, but he is really good at Oaklawn, and he's really good at this distance. It's probably his favorite track and probably his favorite trip going 6 furlongs.
Yeah, it's all about pace and trip for Tejano Twist. He's a 1-run closing sprinter, and that stuff can cause problems in certain situations. But he's a real good horse, and I think you mentioned he's won for his last 14, but he still shows up and gives an account of himself. And as you meant, that one win in that streak right here in the King Cotton last year, where he came running and closed that field down, and that was right after he earned a triple-digit buyer here, finishing a good second to Banishing.
And for him, I think it's mainly running style why he doesn't win quite as much. He's just going to be coming on late, lots of minor awards. Then the opposite end of the spectrum, we have Skelly, multiple graded stakes winner, grade 1 place. When he's at the top of his game, he is one of the best sprinters in the US. but he's coming off the worst 3-race stretch in his entire career. I mean, he showed his same speed in those last 3 races, but he's finished 6th, 3rd beaten 5+, and then 6th in those last 3.
Yeah.
Now, again, he gets to come back to Oaklawn, which is his favorite track. He gets to come back to a trip that he really likes. They've given him a few months off. Which version of Skelly are we going to get here, Mike? The one from earlier on in his career where he would dominate a field like this, or the one that we've seen more recently where he's getting towards the end of his 6-year-old season now?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like the what he has going from this, first of all, is he's always been good and he's always been fast. But I think we found out probably really last summer and then a couple of times this year. We found out about him is he's not really a graded stakes horse.
Yes.
But when you run him in races like this, he's super dangerous because he's wicked fast. And even though his last couple of races aren't great, his speed is intact. And so you know that even if he doesn't break great, they're going to go to the front with this horse. You can see it right there if you have the DRFTPs that he's 10 for 12 in his career at Oaklawn. He has won, not only is he 10 for 12, Gino, he's won 10 in a row at Oaklawn Park. And this is his favorite track. And if he gets loose on the lead in here, he's going to be really hard to run down.
And I'm talking about him maybe losing a step as he's getting older. The last 2 races he ran at Oaklawn, he had 110 and 107 Beyer speed figures. So that was back in May. That's not that long ago.
Not that long ago.
When the circumstances are right for him, he can run massive races. We move to Ghost of Midnight next up. Feels kind of like a long shot in here. He comes off of a 5th place finish at Del Mar. 2 starts back, he was winning over at Santa Anita. Just based on speed figures, his last couple are light. You do see him running 2nd behind the Chosen Vron, though, before a layoff. And that race would actually stack up pretty well in here. What do we do with this guy who's 20-1 on the morning line?
Probably unfortunate for this, or who knows what happened to him after that race against the Chosen Vron, because he was in great form at that point. I know he's, running some cheaper races, but they gave him a chance there to move up in class. He acquitted himself really well. And unfortunately, he missed over a year after that. And so obviously something went wrong. He's come back. He's run okay. And it's 3 starts. It feels like this is a tough spot for him.
Moving to Roll On Big Joe. This is a personal favorite of mine. One of my good scores last year came with Roll On Big Joe and the Palace Verde. So he always makes me smile. Nice. He's just an honest horse, Mike. He puts himself in the race. He has speed. He can sit off. He can pass a little bit. He's coming off of a win where he earned a 103 Beyer speed figure when he was sitting about 3 deep and then just moved to the lead quickly. I mean, he's a pretty cool horse. And when you look at his overall body of work, he's now an 8-time winner in 21 starts with 6 more seconds. Like, just very, very solid.
Yeah, just really good. As you mentioned, he got the triple-digit Beyer last time, and that's not the only triple-digit Beyer he's run in his career. He's a nice horse. I wonder, you mentioned that he's cross-entered to Turfway. I don't know if he's going to run here or there. I guess my one concern with him here, if they do start him in this race, is that he's going to have the speed of Skelly to deal with. And I just wonder how much that affects him, but he could obviously win.
Banishing is next one up. And what a year for Banishing. You don't see horses very often run 11 times in a year. 4 wins, 4 seconds and a third. He was in the Breeders' Cup. And you could put a line right through that. He just had a bad start. He was towards the back, and he just never really got involved in that race. He did have some trouble down on the inside, too, some traffic. Nobody was beating Ben Tornado that day. There wasn't a whole ton of passing in that race. No. And if you put a line right through that, look at the rest of his form and look at the horses he's been facing this year. Mystic Dan, he was in front of Hear Me Song, who came back to win next out. You see him in the race with Mystic Dan, Antiquarian, and Post Time. The one that stands out to me was that Churchill Downs, where he's in that race with Mindframe, with Nisos, with Bookham Dano, with some of the best horses in training in the U.S. this year, and he was right there in the mix with them. He doesn't have to be as far back as he was last time out.
Yeah, he just got outrun at the Breeders' Cup last time. And listen, I guess you could maybe, if you wanted to, you could point to that race and say it's the culmination of a really long and hard campaign. And it's the first time all year that he didn't fire any kind of a shot. And that would be fair, but I'm just not sure how hard you're supposed to be on him for that race. He's just run one giant race after another, and he's done it at different tracks. He's done it at different distances. He's done it against some of the top horses in training. We'll see. Maybe that last one again, maybe it's a sign that he's over the top. It'd be really nice to see him bounce back here and show up with one more really strong effort.
He's battle tested, right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm not
right.
worried about him coming off of that race because
I
he's
don't think
just
I
like,
am
he's done
either.
that over and over throughout the year where we've kind of wondered, is he maybe over or kind of beyond his top? And then he just comes right back again and runs another big race. We round things out with Spankster. He's 0 for his last 10. He was 47-1 last time out when he finished second. And that was actually his best race in about a year and a half. He's only been in graded stakes races 3 times. And he's been pretty overmatched when he's faced this type of company, even though this isn't a graded stakes, it's the
Yeah.
same type of company.
It is. This is not your typical overnight stakes racer. This is a really good
No.
field, and it feels like it might be a little too tough for a horse like Spankster.
We move to our selections in here, Mike, and I think we both went to a horse that we've become a fan of this year.
Yeah.
In an era where you don't run all that much, horses that do run a lot, I'm always going to become fans of. And
Yeah.
Banishing is a horse that we like a bit. Talk to us about your top selections here.
Yeah, I feel like we sort of laid it out there. I mean, he's been so good, and I know that his most recent start was, a step in the wrong direction. I just don't think you're supposed to be that hard on him. We didn't even really talk about it because there was so much to say about Banishing Gino. But if you go back in his PPs, they sprinted him here twice last winter, 2 6 furlong races here at Oaklawn last winter, 2 big wins with triple-digit buyers. This is a good spot for him to get back on track.
Yeah, he likes the track, likes the trip, just lots of positives there. For Mike, it's going to be 7-4-3-2. For me, 7-6-2-4. Whoever you play, however you play them, we wish you the best of luck.